What happens when a single invention makes centuries of warfare obsolete overnight? When fire met chemistry, war changed forever. Knights lost their power. Castles lost their strength. Empires rose not because of honor or tradition, but because of technology, organization, and firepower. This is the story of gunpowder and how it reshaped the world. A thunderous crack echoes across the battlefield. Smoke fills the air. Armor shatters. Stone walls crumble. Soldiers freeze not from wounds, but from fear. This is something new, something louder, something unstoppable. For the first time in history, war is no longer silent, steel against steel. It is fire and thunder. Welcome to the age of gunpowder, the discovery that changed everything. Gunpowder did not begin as a weapon. In China, during the Tang and Song dynasties, alchemists searched for immortality. Instead, they found explosion. Early formulas mixed saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal. At first, gunpowder was used for fireworks, signals, rituals, but curiosity soon met conflict. In Mandarin, gunpowder is Ho Yao, Hu Yao, fire medicine, and medicine quickly became weaponry. From rockets to cannons, Chinese engineers developed fire lances, rockets, early bombs. As knowledge spread west through trade routes, gunpowder evolved. In the Islamic world, engineers refined artillery. In Europe, cannons appeared on battlefields and castle walls. Stone fortifications that once stood for centuries now collapsed in days. Castles were no longer safe. The death of the castle. For hundreds of years, castles dominated warfare. Gunpowder ended that. Cannons shattered walls. Sieges shortened. Defense required redesign. Star forts replaced medieval castles. Low, thick walls absorbed cannon fire. Architecture adapted to war. War adapted to science. The end of the night. Armor grew heavier, but bullets grew faster. Plate armor could not stop lead shot. Knights became targets rather than champions. Cavalry did not disappear, but dominance shifted. Infantry with firearms now ruled the battlefield. War became less personal and more deadly. Discipline over bravery. Early firearms were inaccurate and slow. Victory depended on training, coordination, discipline. Soldiers fired in volleys, reloaded together, advanced in formation. War rewarded obedience, not individual heroism. In French, discipline. In German, discipline. The language of war was changing. Empires of gunpowder. Some states adapted faster than others. Those who mastered gunpowder built empires. The Ottoman Empire. Elite Janissary infantry. Massive cannons. Conquest of Constantinople, 1453, a city thought invincible fell in weeks. Mughal Empire. Firearms combined with cavalry, massive territorial expansion, military innovation tied to administration. Safavid Persia. Gunpowder armies. Religious identity enforced through force. These became known as the Gunpowder Empires. Naval warfare is transformed. Cannons did not stay on land. They moved to ships. Warships replaced boarding actions. Naval battles became floating artillery duels. Control of the sea meant control of trade. Trade meant wealth. Wealth meant power. Empires now stretched across oceans. Europe expands by force. European powers used gunpowder to expand globally. Colonial wars followed. Americas, Africa, Asia. Firearms gave small forces immense power. War reshaped the world map, often violently. This was not just conquest, it was domination. War and the state. Gunpowder warfare was expensive. States required taxes, bureaucracy, permanent armies. Modern governments emerged from military needs. War created the state. The state perfected war. The human cost. Gunpowder wars increased casualties dramatically. Civilians suffered. Cities bombarded. Fields destroyed. Populations displaced. War was no longer seasonal, it was constant. A new sequel begins technology, drove escalation. Escalation demanded innovation, larger armies, deadlier weapons, greater destruction. The modern age of warfare had begun. Closing reflection. Gunpowder ended the medieval world and gave birth to empires. It replaced honor with efficiency, walls with fire, knights with soldiers, and once unleashed, it could never be undone. The next chapter would take war even further into factories, machines, and global conflict.